Hello everyone and welcome. This time we are going to paint the orcs. So I bought some pipettes since last time. It makes thinning down paints a lot easier, allows to control the water level when using paints from a metal tube. And it also allows you to pick up various amounts of paints from paint pots. They are easily washed just by picking up water and flushing it a few times from the pipette. And they made my work a lot easier once I had them. As you can see, I have changed the filming angle and decided to go with a just forward camera. This actually helps my phone camera to better focus on the miniatures, and it allows me to have a lot more footage that I can use when making these videos. I went for a we're not going to go through the basing process again with the orcs. As you can see, they all have their bases done already with the dirt. You will also notice that these orcs also have a number of small rocks attached to their bases. The rocks will offer extra detail to the model, and also their number will help us during actual gameplay when we can use it to differentiate between them, as they can and will have to be controlled by different characters. Another fail on my part is the priming of these models as well. Instead of doing a prop or zenithal highlight, I accidentally sprayed them from the front instead from the top. And actually their back, which should be the brightest part, is still darker than the actual front of the figurines. I will get better at this as well, hopefully. Now I'm just fixing all my mistakes. When painting the chainmail, there was a lot of spillage over the skin, so all this has to be refixed. This is the part where I do the highlights and the edges of the shields and the weapons, and go with the lead belcher on the sides of the shields. As I said, creating basically the iron bands that go around the copper of the shields, as well as the studs a little later. You can see that sometimes little gaps appear in the paint, especially the copper. That's okay because see the studs I painted with lead belcher. Moving on to all the leather bits, starting with the boots. And like I mentioned before, using a lot of PVA glue is actually detrimental, and you can see on his boots that some of the gravel is still clinging on to the boots. I tried removing this after I based them with the hobby knife. However, I didn't get all of it. So, and you can clearly see right here what I'm talking about the on the low part of his boot. While this could be a very good effect, if it's not something you actually want, keep that in mind when basing. Moving on to some armor panels or satchels. I can't really tell what those are supposed to be, but they look brownish to me. Also, I had one of these models previously from a D&D booster pack. And I sort of used that scholar scheme to uh, be inspired and have all the others at least similar, because I also wanted to show and try to make a better paint job than the ones that came painted. The leather straps I find are very difficult to paint unless you have a very steady and very easy hand. I need to lightly touch the area instead of pressing down. You're not going for coverage, you're going for just tiny scratches sort of with your brush tip in order to not affect any of the chainmail. course, mistakes will be made, and they are easily fixed. Whenever you feel that paint has been watered down, remember the paper towel is your best friend. Or at least mine. It can be really hard to find the proper position to reach certain places on a miniature. This is a lesson I learned when I painted Ragnar Blackmane, and I couldn't reach all the places I wanted to, and I should have actually painted certain parts separately and then fully assembled the miniature. However, I do not have a luxury for these already one piece miniatures. You just have to find the position that best suits you for that particular part of the miniature. And you have to keep trying. while I'm painting them, it's very difficult to fully see the depth of the colors and the brightness of them. Right now, as I'm watching this video, I find that the contrast is considerable between the is different between what I'm seeing when I'm painting and when I'm watching a video. It actually looks way better in the video. There was a tutorial also about how to do hair, and yeah, I'm not that good at painting. I don't claim to be a master or anything. I barely even manage highlighting and stuff, and I'm not even going to get into dry brushing again. But the point I'm trying to make is, uh, if it looks good to you, then it's done. And right now I'm aiming for tabletop quality. This is more than enough, especially for me and for what I'm going to be getting out of it. What I'm more interested in right now is learning to do it fast and correct. Correct in the sense that I don't make mistakes that I constantly have to fix, and just get my hands used to actually painting. The eyes. Oh my god, did I really try with the eyes? Right here, that one was the first one I did, and it came out perfect. The first time you do something is perfect. Next time, damn, it never goes exactly how you want it to go. And I'm like thinking it needs a little bit more, and a little bit more, and I messed it up. And I touched his cheek. While I'm really happy with this particular arc, the next ones did not go so smoothly. And if I'm not mistaken, right here, right about that, yeah, see, there you go. I botched up. Now I have to fix his face, and yeah, I have to keep doing that over and over again. I decided to add a few more elements, playing with copper and lead belcher. So the pauldron should apply the same sort of style with the pauldron copper, and the metal spike in the middle being more irony. Not ironic, just made of iron. Irony? I don't know. Finishing the shaft of the maces with, again, lead belcher. putting a few final details on the few armor panels. And another border of lead bilger for the copper pauldron. Just a little bit more dash for all the spiky bits on the leather straps. What I noticed is that when you get the perfect consistency that you're looking for of paint, water, and everything, it's enough to just touch the brush on the raised parts of the mini you want to highlight, and the paint will just do the rest. So most of the time, you're just trying to get the paint and let it do its job. Of course, we couldn't go without, highlighting the orky teeth. Finally, we do a bit of shading with null oil on all the metallic parts. This will make it really pop out. Now, the step after shading with null oil or with any other shade is to highlight again with lead bulger. I honestly really like with the not necessarily lead bulger, with any color that you just shaded. But I love the way it looks, the dark theme, sort of speak, and I honestly prefer to not do it. Of course, this has nothing to do with the fact that I can't really dry brush yet. Here's a side-by-side comparison of an unshaded miniature and a shaded miniature. For the leather, I went with Agrax Earthshade. It's a more brownish color instead of black. It really helps the leather pop out and gives it a bit of a shine. Doing some fixing of the base that was damaged during painting, I noticed that it formed a very stiff base that was not very flexible, and whenever I dropped the mini or had to re-put it on the support, it basically broke or cracked the basing. Now, this will not be a major problem, um, but it would actually give it a bit more character. But when there are chunks missing, those need to be fixed. And finally, I just gave a black trim to the base, and with that, the minis are done. Now for the final product.